Largely, if you see, in past, strategy was largely derived from geography. It was an element of geography into it. But gradually, the element of technology is taking over and overshadowing geography. Let me begin by a fundamental truth that war is all about winning. There are no runners-up in war. There are no silver medalists for the valiant efforts or consolation prizes for very brave attempts. This harsh reality has driving military commanders throughout ages to seek every possible advantage over their adversaries. The stakes in any kind of a conflict are always high, and the very fate of nations or survival of nations depends upon that. Warfare and winning in warfare is basically dependent on strategy, and it's said that it's the art of the jung. And this has been used actually in the past to win wars, and largely, if you see, in past, strategy was largely derived from geography. It was an element of geography into it. But gradually, the element of technology is taking over and overshadowing geography. What I'll do is, I'll trace this path of transformation where geography played an important role in defining strategy, and then how technology is overshadowed that. So, battles, campaigns, and hence wars have been won by application of superior tactics and strategy. In ancient and medieval times, terrain influenced the tactics which was adopted. Geography played an important role in deciding the outcome of battles, campaigns, and conflicts. And commanders who used geography, who understood geography, were always able to use it for their own benefit. The importance of, say, high ground for observation and for occupying defense, intervisibility for, say, command and control, suitability of terrain for achieving surprise and deception, space for military maneuver, speed of movement, direction of attack, axis of maintenance, resting a flank on a particular obstacle, were all selected based on geography, and they were the battle-winning factors. In some cases, the tyranny of distance itself was a factor of geography which prevented assault on you. Vast expanses of deserts, mountain ranges, and oceans provided natural barriers against invasion. We've all heard about grounds of tactical importance and vital ground, which always have been derived by a kind of a military appreciation. And military appreciation, if you people in uniform would know, that it basically an analysis of ground, that's the first factor which you do, then is your relative strength and time and space. Analysis of these three factors will give you some kind of a plan and option which you, enemies are known plans, then you work out on your best course of action. But the basic building block of any military campaign is analysis of terrain and geography. A close look at the principles of war also would make us realize that they are terrain and geographic centric. So offensive action, maintenance of momentum, flexibility are functions of speed and mobility, all of which is dependent on terrain. History is actually replete with examples in which skillful use of terrain actually has helped winning side to win a particular battle. Take the example of, I'll take a few examples. The first is the Battle of Marathon, 490 BC between Athens and Persia. The Athenians were vastly outnumbered by Persians, but they chose a location where marshes and mountainous terrain prevented Persian cavalry to assault. They could have actually, the Athenians would have lost that particular battle, but the history was reversed. And this catastrophic defeat, which was there, is now celebrated as, as a major victory. Look at Battle of Tours, fought almost about 1,200 years later in Gaul, that's modern-day France. The Frankish army, under the leadership of Charles Martel, stationed itself on a hill with forests on its flanks. The force of the Umayyad cavalry, accustomed to open field warfare, were forced to charge uphill through forests. That they could not do, and the result was a foregone conclusion. Take the Battle of Waterloo, 1815, which led to the ultimate defeat of Napoleon. The position chosen by Duke of Wellington was on a long ridge, on center of which served as a command post and an observation post. He kept his infantry behind. They were precluding Napoleon to assess the assessment of the correct strength of the forces under which Lord Wellesley. And again, similarly, French artillery also could not actually pinpoint the cavalry as well as the infantry. So again, it was a foregone conclusion. And lastly, of course, is the Gallipoli campaign, in which the Turks defeated the British Allied forces, again by skillful use of rugged mountainous terrain and setting up an impregnable defensive positions. It's not that technology was not a factor in these battles. Technology was also a factor in these battles, but comparatively, I think geography played a very important role. Weapons available in these battles were almost similar to both sides: swords, spears, bows, shields, matchlocks, muzzle-loading rifles, cannons, etc. were the same. One more factor which probably influenced the outcome of battle was morale, leadership, training. But this has been constant all throughout history. Technology started influencing the outcome of battle significantly after the invention of gunpowder. This influenced combat at the lowest end of the duel. A warrior with superior arms and better protection had better chances of winning. The same was true for an archer and as well as a cavalryman. From the discovery of gunpowder to the invention of telegraph to tanks and aircraft, nuclear arsenal, all this impacted tactics and strategy. If I were to express my views frankly, it is geography and technology had an equal measure till we talk about the first revolution in military affairs. That's about maneuver kind of in warfare. So tactical concepts like envelopment, turning movement were introduced by Germans as part of their strategy of blitzkrieg, which involved rapid movement, surprise, concentrated firepower, and close air support, and coordinated attacks. This was the outcome of mix of technology, because a large number of platforms were used in this, and of course geography. And to give you a modern day example of this is Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of Russia. Almost they traveled 3,000 kilometers to the gates of these big urban areas of Leningrad, Moscow and Stalingrad.